Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Rob Evans 365. It's day number 409. And firstly, just an apology up front for yesterday and potentially today's podcast at the time I'm recording this. We are having some technical issues with our podcast platform at the moment, and they're being resolved over in the US. So at the time of recording this, the issue hasn't been resolved, so you will not have received yesterday's, which no, this isn't going to make sense until after the event, but I'm just telling you, if you're wondering when you listen to it why it was a little bit late. I actually recorded it over 24 hours ago, early Saturday morning, and it was relevant for what I wanted to do yesterday. Still listen to it, and hopefully this one will be up pretty quickly. Still being resolved. I've got someone working on it overseas. So today what I wanted to talk about was, it's Sunday, okay? So yesterday I was talking about Saturday and success and some tasks to complete in terms of reviewing the week that was. And today being Sunday, well, traditionally it's a day where you're resting and relaxing, isn't it? And that's what I like to use Sundays for, but I also have a strong focus on what it is that I need to do. So earlier in the week I talked about 7 days a week, making sure that you're setting yourself up for success every single day. And even today, working out what it is that the outcomes that you want to achieve. So I still go through that process. But the main theme of today is a couple of things. One, I still want you to set yourself up for success and for today, but look at also the week ahead and say, okay, what are the big things that need to be done over this next week? And start thinking about those things, start planning those things in your calendar. But the main aspect of today is going to be just about you and making sure that you're giving back to you and filling yourself back up. Because what we find is we're all busy and we're all giving to multiple people in our lives, aren't we? So whether you have children, whether you're at your work, there are so many different opportunities for us every single day to be giving more of ourselves to other people. And what is really important is that we make sure that we do take time out of our busy lives to give back to us. Now, if we look at some simple examples of some visuals, for instance, imagine people talk about buckets of this kind of thing as a metaphor, if you like. Imagine that you've got this whole bucket of energy and a bucket of love and so forth, and you're giving out of your bucket all the time. So if you are in a position of authority, let's say at work, then you are giving out to the people that report to you. If you're somebody that is reporting to someone else, then you're normally giving all out to your customer, whoever that is, whether it's a face-to-face type interaction over the phone, but you're always giving part of yourself to someone else, or your colleagues. And then that's in a work environment, and then you come out of your work environment into your home, and it's like, well, you're always giving to your partner, you're always giving to the children, the animals that you're looking after, friends, family. It just goes on and on and on, doesn't it? And depending on how you communicate with people, that could extend to social media, and you might feel like you're supporting someone else through social media, or someone's going through a bit of a hard time, a friend or something, and you're helping to support them. And it's like, man, it's intense to keep on doing that. You've got some big deadlines at work and you're pushing. So in my line of work, I am constantly giving to all my clients. That's why I do what I do. I'm here to coach people, serve people to achieve greater outcomes for themselves. When it comes to my family, then it's always giving to the kids to support them and make sure that they have what they need in order to be able to function, develop, learn, grow, eat, survive, all that kind of stuff. It's a never-ending process. So if we are constantly, imagine this bucket of all this stuff that we keep taking out, well, what happens if you've got a bucket full of something and you keep taking out? At some point, the bucket's going to what? It's going to be empty. Now, if that bucket of you becomes empty, then what happens? You also become empty. What does that mean? You then perform at less than your optimum. And there's a whole range of other issues that can lead on from that, whether that's like in a worst case position, you're heading down the path of some mental anguish, some depression, anxiety, etc., where you just feel like, life is just too much for me. So what we need to do is make sure that we're managing ourselves, our energy levels, and filling our buckets back up by giving back to ourselves. Now, I have spoken about this a number of times before through other podcasts, but today is just a refresher of that. Now, it's unique for each particular person. The trick is to find out what are the things that you do for yourself that fill you back up and provide you with all that energy and love and drive to keep you going forward. And for me, it's a few different things. Firstly, making sure that I take some time out to look after myself through the week is really important. So that for me is making sure that I am doing my workouts. If I don't do my workouts, then I just don't feel great. I can feel that my body doesn't physically feel the same and I don't feel good about it. So I have to make sure that I'm through the week consistently doing my resistance workouts. I can go for my walks and do that kind of stuff, do some cardio, but if I haven't done the resistance workouts, then I find that, that really affects me, even if I do the walks. The resistance training is the most powerful to me. Maybe that's because of traditionally, that's what I used to do. I didn't used to do much cardio. It was all about weights. So I think I get drawn back to that from, every week. I say, I've got to do that because I know what it means to me. So that's one thing that I do. So I do that throughout the week. The other thing is making sure that I'm feeding myself well with nutritious foods all through the week as well, because I know that makes me feel good. It makes me operate well, high energy levels, and it makes me be able to perform my workouts and do that kind of stuff. And then let's look at some other things that we do. Obviously, taking time out, being in nature is important for me, which is why I love going for my walks, and I prefer to get outdoors and walk rather than do it indoors, just because of what it means to be outside in the sunlight and fresh air and so forth. I think that is a really important aspect for me as well. Another part for me, especially on the weekend that I have the kids, I have them through the week as well, so I share them with their mum, so we alternate the weekends. So when it comes to the weekend that I have them, I want to make sure that I'm taking time out away from our busyness and do something special. And that might be going for a walk or something like that, spending some time doing some different things where we're connecting to a different process. So like last night, for instance, we sat down and we went through a whole bunch of, I collect recipes and so forth, and went through a whole bunch of them, looking at what was in certain ones and what they would like, and laughing at some others, and how can we change things and make them better, and that kind of stuff. And just doing things that you don't normally have time, sort of always under so much time pressure. So that was just a little fun thing that we did, and we're talking about they've got some birthdays coming up. So all three of our birthdays, so the two girls and mine, were all our birthdays are within a week of each other in August. And we're talking about their birthday dinners and what we were going to do special for them. And so for me, it's about finding those ways to connect with them in that way is is really important for me, and that fills me back up. One of the other things is reading. So I love to read, and there's a few different things that I do for my reading. One is some reading where I'm doing some research about, it's always around health and fitness really. So it might be nutrition, it might be something to do with mindset, coaching, it could be exercises, new equipment, whatever it is. So I will normally do that via online or via magazines that I get access to. And the other one is reading books. So reading books around a particular topic that I want to learn more about. So I love the mindset side of things. So I'm always, looking at something like a business book, or a book around how do you perform better. Maybe it's a biography around somebody that's done some really fantastic work, or is a high achiever. But it's something like that. So right now I'm reading JT, my coach. I'm reading his book. So I'm catching up with him. Next week actually, and I'm looking forward to that. And for me, it's just an opportunity to keep growing. Keep reading content, keep filling me up, making me smarter, making me more resilient, making me a better coach, making me a better person. For me, that is what really drives me. And I know that might not necessarily drive you, but that is what I use to drive me. And it brings me a level of happiness and fills my buckets up, where I know that, wow, I'm really living life on my terms. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing with my life, and I love to get this extra knowledge in the way that I'm doing it. So that's another big thing for me. And then probably the last, there's probably two more. I do like watching a good movie, and there's a range of different things that I would watch. Honestly, I mean, I don't mind an old classic movie. I do like a romantic comedy. I do like action movies as well. I like the Arnie movies. I like Sylvester Stallone movies. I like a good courtroom thriller. Don't go for the horror movies, but I love a good comedy as well, especially with the kids. I wish they would produce more family-friendly comedy movies that didn't have so much swearing in them. So I like to watch. Someone who I do like watching with the kids is Rowan Atkinson. So whether it's his Mr. Bean character or his Johnny English character, those movies are quite funny. And there's generally I don't think there's any swearing in those at all, which is really refreshing, I think, in this day and age. So I do like watching a movie, either with the kids or even by myself. I like doing that. Been enjoying watching the Tour de France, so that's really inspiring. So just actually finished before recording this. So I was a little bit later this morning. I was in Sunday, I did have a sleep in, and I was watching the last stage, or second last stage, really the last competitive stage of the Tour de France last night. And the last 2 days, the leader has changed, and looks like the guy that crossed the line last night is a young guy. He's only 22 years old. He's not the youngest guy to ever win the Tour. The youngest one was back in 1903 or something, but certainly the youngest person in this era to win it, and a fantastic effort. So I like watching some sporting events like that as well. Actually, just on that, I am watching more stuff on YouTube. So I love the strongman events. Seeing those amazing feats of strength and stuff that they do is just fantastic. And next year, I'm really looking forward to this. It's in March next year. So one of my bucket list things of, I guess, people to meet is I've probably got two on there. One is Arnold. The second one is Richard Branson, to meet both of them. And so in March next year, I get to meet Arnold, which is when he comes to Australia. So I'm actually meeting him. I have my everything organised for that. And I've never done this before. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it. But the Arnold Classic that is here in Melbourne, they have I think it's about 4 days of different activities. So they have an expo and they have all the different events. And there's a bodybuilding aspect, there's a strongman event and so forth. I guess as it gets closer to the event, they'll have, something like platinum VIP or something. And they'll send out more of a schedule. But I think what I'm going to do is take all that time off work, and I'll probably stay in the city, and I'm going to go every day to the different events, depending on what it is when they come out. But I'm really excited about that. Watching those events, watching those live events is really fantastic, and I really do enjoy that. And then the last thing that I probably do is around relaxing. Actually, I didn't say, one of the other things I like to do with the kids is spending that time in nature, like going for a bike ride, that kind of stuff. And see, depending on the weather today, we might get out and go for a bit of a bike ride. But I do enjoy going for a bike ride with the kids. It's not a super hard one, as obviously the kids have got little legs and we can't go too fast. But we've got some reasonable bike paths around here where we can go for a few kilometres. So that's pretty cool. And then the last ultimate relaxation thing that I do, probably in two parts, but the easiest one for me to do is to have a bath, a nice hot long bath at night. Often I'll watch something on YouTube, maybe something inspirational, or a good movie or something, and I'll watch on YouTube while I'm in the bath. And I love that, just to soak the body, just relax everything away. And that is often where I have a lot of creativity when I'm in the bath, because I'm maybe just opening up a different side of myself, and like just tapping into that. You unwind, you relax, and you're just thinking strategically perhaps about other things that you want to be doing. I've had some of the best ideas come out of the bath, so I really enjoy that. And then I guess you could say, if you go back and you find, I couldn't tell you what day it is, it's probably in the 70s, something like that, or 40s maybe, somewhere in there. Anyway, you'll find it. It's when I'm in Bali, and you hear me talk about the different therapies and so forth that I had over there. I mean, Bali is such an amazing place. It's a shame that the continent is a bit unstable with volcanoes and tsunamis and so forth, and I had an earthquake when I was over there. But one of the reasons for me going over to Bali was to rejuvenate myself and relax. And I thought, well, while I'm here, the first time I'd ever been there, I wanted to have as many different therapies as I could try. So I thought, things are a little bit cheaper over there, and they probably have some different treatments that I've just not experienced before. So the things that I had were, I had some reflexology on my feet. Actually, I did a little bit on my hands, but on my feet was sensational. It cost like $10 or something. It was ridiculously cheap for half an hour of work on my feet. So that was great. I had like a full body massage, deep tissue massage, which was really cool. That was like a 90-minute session. I had a couple of massages actually while I was there. I had a full body scrub, which was a very unique experience. I'd never had one of those before. Not sure whether I'd have one again, to be honest. It was interesting. One of the most unique experiences that I had, which was really, really different to what I thought, was a bath filled with oils and flower petals. I thought, okay, it's just a bath. I've had baths before. But I tell you, as a man, lying in that bath with the flower petals around you, there's something about the flower petals being in there just gives a different experience to the bath. I can't explain it apart from there's just some extra relaxation of whether it's touching the flower petals in the water, seeing the flower petals in there floating around you, something that the flower petals will release, I don't know. But I just thought it's just going to be a bath, but it was so much more than that. It was a really quite beautiful experience. And what else I had? I did some yoga, and now I'm not super flexible at all, and I was quite sore after that. And it was a beginner's class, but it was a bit of fun. I thought, well, I'm over in Bali, got to do some yoga over there. And I also did some Tibetan sound meditation, which went for an hour, and that was very unique. And I was the only one in the class. It was the same guy that did the yoga, so that was different as well. And what else did I do? I think that was it in terms of therapy. I spent a day lying on, you could book these sunbeds, and looking out right by the ocean, looking out over the ocean, full poster thing, massive thing. You could book that for the day, and that was amazing. I had a day there, and I was just reading. I was writing my book and doing those things. It was really, really beautiful. And also, I thought, well, actually, there were other things that I did. The sauna, steam room, spa, I love that. Plunge pool kind of thing, coming out of the hot steam room, going straight into a cold plunge pool. That's a unique experience. I love my sauna and steam rooms and so forth. So that was really cool as well. And yeah, I mean, they're the kinds of extra luxury type things that I do to fill myself back up. And I think when I get all those things happening regularly, then I'm always delivering my best. So where your homework comes in here is to identify what are those things that really fill you up. And I want you to think about it in empowering ways. So for instance, I don't want you to say things like, drinking a lot of alcohol or eating a lot of junk food, like doing a lot of gambling or, smoking or, taking illegal substances or anything like that. I don't want you to doing any of those kinds of things, because even though you might think, I'd really love to do those and they make me feel good, ultimately, deep within yourself that they're not the things that you should be doing to recharge yourself. I want you to think about it from a different perspective and think, okay, just like the things that I mentioned there, what are the things that you really give to yourself that really help fill you back up, that are empowering, positive, and are going to help you grow. They're going to help nurture you and fill you up each week. Now, most of us don't do enough of this. I think I'm very in tune with what I need to perform at my best, and most people aren't. And they just go through life and hoping that they'll just get from one week to the next weekend and they'll just recover and then they'll just go back and do it all again. That's no way to live. We call that surviving, not thriving. And we want to identify all those things that are going to continue to make you a high performer. So this is how I'm able to continuously go from day after day after day doing what I do, because I've identified the key things for me that I need to fill myself back up, make sure I'm serving myself, looking after myself as well as everybody around me, but making sure that I take care of myself first, because just like the rule of first aid, who comes first in first aid? You do. Not the casualty, it's you, the people around you, and then the casualty. Because if there's something wrong with you and you're the only first aider, then everybody is screwed. So you must put yourself first in this instance. And when you keep doing this on a regular basis, you'll find that you feel fantastic. So that's your homework. Identify what are those things, and make sure you take time out today to fill yourself up, because you deserve it. And it'll help you perform even better in the week ahead. The key here, again, consistency. Consistency. All right, have fun with this episode, because it's all about you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully this podcast gets to you soon. Bye.